Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Papa Todd here. Today we're going to talk about hard work. Stick around. If you like the content you're going to hear, please like and subscribe. Helps me support doing more videos like this. Question. You ever wonder why society looks down on people who do dirty jobs, who have to work hard for a living, and those are the very things that keep our world running? I'm about to tell you why hard work is a path to pride and success. So for any of you who follow the channel, you know I kind of grew up on a farm, and most of the time it was a hay farm, occasionally a crop farm, and we had some animals to take care of. It wasn't a fun, glamorous job. In the summertime, day after day, dirty. When I was younger, my dad worked in the city, and he'd throw me on the back of the motorcycle the night before. We'd ride out into the fields, and he'd leave a mark in the hay with the motorcycle tires as to where he wanted me to cut the hay to that next day. You could get up too early and get out in the field and start cutting because there might be a little too much dew and too much wetness on the hay and grass at the time, right? And so you had to wait a little bit, but during that waiting time frame was really preparing. You prepared the machines, you checked the oil, you greased it up real good, make sure all the grease zerks had grease in them because you wanted to preserve the equipment. You wanted it to last a long time. On the farm, you worked with what you had, and you had to keep it in good shape. I'd go out in the day, rake it in the other fields that I'd probably cut the previous day, and then I'd bale it later in the day. And then when Dad would get home, we'd pick it all up, put it in the barn. And when I say dirty, I mean really dirty, especially putting it in the barn. We had no wind, all the dust. At the end of the day, you could look back and you could see nice looking fields, good preserved hay that was going to sell for a high value. You had a stockpile of it that you knew people would want in the wintertime to bring you money. We didn't do just hay. We plowed a lot. We helped others with their fields. We had a couple of people that were fairly elderly, and they had some land, but they just didn't have the ability to prep the fields and get it all planted. And so I was farmed out many times to lots of our neighbors. And I remember a story one particular night. I was planning on going up to the basketball game at the high school, and Dad said, "No, we got to get this field plowed." And when he said we, a lot of times it was just me. He didn't have a mouse in his pocket. And so I would do my due diligence as a good neighbor and good son and head out and start plowing. And I got to miss out on a lot of things. Got to. I missed out hanging out with my friends at high school a lot. I missed a lot of the fun things they got to do. But my dad thought it was extremely important that I learned how to work, and that work required a few things. And I didn't know it at the time. I really didn't understand it. I was pretty angry about it a lot of times and just kept it inside, but still did the work. A good example of the kind of work we did on the farm was we would raise bottle-fed calves for beef so we could supply our own food. So we'd go buy a bottle-fed calf, and it was my responsibility to get it all raised up and ready for butcher. That meant getting up early. Why? Because I had to catch the bus at about 7:15 to 7:30. So I'd get up early, go down to the barn, prepare all the milk and everything, get everything fed to the calves, get back to the house, get cleaned up because it was not a clean process. Ready for school, back down the driveway, catch the bus. When school was over, you guessed it, those are hungry calves. They need to be fed again. And there was other tasks, whether we had chickens at the time or not, either feeding them, getting them watered, getting them cleaned as far as their area. Lots and lots of chores on a farm. We had an orchard, and we had lots of things to take care of. I was always on the job with my dad and my grandfather when he was still working, and I was learning lots of lessons then too. So my grandfather laid brick, block, and stone for 50 years. 50 years, long time to be hefting big heavy stones, swinging a hammer, and laying stuff with a trowel all those years. I remember some of my first memories being out on the job with them. And my grandfather would always kind of pull me over and be talking as he was working. And he'd be talking about the stone. And I remember one time he was fashioning a very large foundation stone. And he would talk about the stone. And I didn't appreciate then how heavy those stones were. And he was not a big man, but he knew how to leverage that stone and get it into the position that was necessary without hurting himself. And as he would swing the hammer, he would talk about how he's using it, how he's holding it, and what he's trying to do to the stone, and hitting it at what angle to try and shape the stone. And I could see he was obviously shaping a stone for a foundation. But other than that, I really didn't grasp the concepts of everything he was ultimately trying to teach me. He was shaping those stones to withstand massive amounts of pressure. These were structural stones. Little did I know, he was shaping me as well to withstand, hopefully, what he thought would be the weight of the world one day. Working beside him taught me a lot of things. It taught me to have grit, perseverance. It taught me that things weren't going to come quickly and easily, that you had to persist and constantly improve your skill. I didn't understand why they called it an art. Being a mason is something we're losing a lot of history in right now. Not a lot of people still know how to do the real artful things in masonry. And I'd venture to say many of the trades are the same way. And that's because of technology. Technology comes along and somehow thinks it's creating an easier and a better way sometimes. And in some cases, it might look like that. But in a lot of ways, we forget the old ways. And those old ways are not just something we want to consider as old and bad or old and outdated. We need to remember that those principles could be hundreds, if not thousands of years old in some cases. Today, we've kind of thrown a lot of those things away, and we've forgotten them. We've left them behind. And there are a few left still, to some degree, who might be able to teach those skills, but few indeed. I think of Mike Rowe and some of the suggestions he's making when it comes to bringing back the trades, and I'm all for it. I think that's a huge deal. A lot of the guys I graduated with, some of them are already starting to retire because, you know, they went in straight out of high school and they've built a great pension. And they've got the ability to do that fairly young, being able to enjoy things, spend time with their grandkids. And we look down on these trades as if there's something wrong with them or it's too hard, and it's not. But I would say that it's hard from an opportunity standpoint, from somebody who's, you know, going through junior high or high school and really not even being prepared in any way to be taught about that. I've heard that we don't even have some shop classes in some places anymore. Kind of surprising to me. Shop class is one of the first places where you started to learn some of the basics. That graduated into lots of other things. I went through the drafting phase, you know, that's where I went to Votech and learned drafting. And that got me into other trades, right? I started building houses when I was 18. But I had the mindset of hard work, that I knew it was going to be hard and I knew it was going to take a lot of effort. I didn't just quit, you know, because it got hard. I knew that you persevered, you pushed through. And when you were done, you could look back on what you built and you were proud of it. You had a sense of accomplishment. I started doing that with my kids, and my oldest boy put him to work out on a Bass Pro Shops development site, building a big retaining wall. And when he drives back to this day, I guarantee he looks at that wall, remembers it, and feels a sense of accomplishment. Probably brags about it a little bit. Don't blame him. He should feel proud of it. It's hard work. There's a contribution that you can look at, see it, and know what it is when you look at it. That's huge. And I think we're missing that in the lessons of our youth today. Be a part of something that's bigger than you. Be a part of projects that make you feel like you did something worth mentioning, worth looking at. It builds character. More importantly, it builds respect for those who came before you, paved the way, so to speak, taught you how to do it, and it respects all those things that they may have built coming up to this point. Our country's that way. There's a lot of things that have been done to give us the opportunities to enjoy the kind of life that we do today. And we owe a debt of gratitude and a level of respect to those people who came before us. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Try something out. Go to work with somebody who does plumbing, electrical. Experience a day what it's like. Enjoy getting out and learning something new. I wish there was more resources available, and maybe we ought to do something like that. Build some programs to where we can get kids out into Vo-Tech type schools and learn, have the opportunity to try out a number of different trades before really trying to pick, a path in life when it comes to a job. Trying different things is always really, really good. So if you get a chance, give it a shot. And if you're out there dogging people who work for a living, that ain't cool, man. Not good at all. These people aren't doing it because that's the only option they have. Plenty of these people are really smart. Now, they turned it into their own business. And before they're 4 years out of high school, they're making over $100,000 a year and they got no debt whatsoever. They got a skill that they've developed and they're gonna make good money the rest of their lives. So this is what this channel is all about. Independent, self-sufficient living. Don't be afraid of hard work. It will reward you and build character. Give you something to be proud of and to have something there for generations for people to look at. If you like what you hear, like and subscribe. We got a lot more videos coming out. Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.